Composing gloves here, and we're going to be looking at correcting the pitch of samples so that when you play them on your keyboard, they're playing the right note. So, for example here, I've got this sample, and a lot of times they actually tell you the note they are, but a lot of times they don't. So we'll cover both cases, but let's just play it. It says it's playing an F, and so that's what it sounds like. I'm going to bring it on here, and let's say I want to play a melody with this. Well, if I push C on the keyboard, I can actually show you here. So I'm going to push C. You would expect it to sound different, right? Because if this is an F, you know, it's got to sound different because I'm playing a C. But it's the same thing. And that's because when we play it back here, it's just going to play back the recording. And when we play higher notes, it'll speed that up. And when we play lower notes, it'll slow it down. So you might be thinking that you're playing, you know, a C when in fact you're playing some other note entirely. So the easy way to fix this is if you know what the note is. So in this case, it's an F. So the F is right here. And so I can tune this down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes, or you could count up to the nearest C2. So you could go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes. So however many notes, that's how many 100 cents you need. So if we come over here, we see we have got a pitch knob. And we said that we need to go up 700 cents to get to the next C. So up here in the corner, it says right there, 700 cents. And so as we play it, it will now be playing the correct note, a C. You might try going downwards instead. So right, if we started on F, we'd go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'd go down 500 cents. And then this would also be a C. Now there's a couple other things you might want to do here. For example, you might change the mode to some other time stretching mode. So for example, if we go to stretch, it's going to make it so that it stays the same length. You may also want to turn on the envelope because right now if I just barely tap the key, it keeps playing. And if you come into the envelope tab and turn that on, bring the attack all the way forward, the decay all the way down, and the hold, you can leave it like this. Basically, you just want a rectangle. This is going to let it ring out a little bit. If you don't want this, you could change the release. But now when I play the key, it holds for as long as I want to hold. That's another thing that you're going to typically want to do. And one other setting worth mentioning is in polyphony. You can make it monophonic, so it'll slide to the next note. If you want to play chords and stuff, you don't want this on. You want it off. So there's a couple sample things. Now let's say that, you know, you don't know what note this is, so you don't know how to tune it up or down. Well, what you could do is you can right click on the sample and go to edit and pitch corrector. So you click that, it's going to open up a new tone. And in here, you can see exactly how the tuning of this thing works. So in general, the longer sections of the sample are going to determine the pitch of the note. So if you have like some different pitch here at the very beginning, don't worry about that too much. It's going to be the longer sustain section. It's done on a case-by-case basis, but typically that's how it's going to go with one-shot samples. So looking at this, we can see indeed that it is an F. And so we can make our adjustments that way. We could say, okay, well, we'll just tune this accordingly. And move it up. So in this case, it's an F. We want to move it to a C. What we could do is we could just grab this and pull this down if we want. And if you'd like to perfectly center it, you can. And now you've got a guaranteed C. But now you have this sort of unnatural offset. So what we could do is we could take this whole thing and we could just move up the part that determines the pitch. Or we could take all the parts and we could move them all up. So it's just an entire offset, similar to what the pitch knob does right here. And then you could go ahead, drag the file out and make a new sample channel. So again, that's this button right here, this drag out button. And now you've got that. Now occasionally you're going to get samples that will have these sort of chops between them. There's a variety of things you could do to fix this, but for this sort of stuff, I would really recommend just finding the note out through that way and then just making the offset that way. So let's do another sample just to be a little more a few more examples. So let's say right here, sure, let's pretend we don't know what it is. So we say, well, okay, it's not labeled. Let's just pretend. So I right click on it, go to edit and pitch corrector. It brings it up. I say, well, geez, this looks like it's a rock solid F. And so I have two choices. I could move it up to C, but that doesn't always work out. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come in here to the pitch and I'm just going to move it. Since I know it's an F, I look for an F on the keyboard and I say, how many is that? And we would count up or down, depending on which C you want to get to. I'm going to go ahead and go up 700 cents because that was the offset we had from before. And so now it's going to play a C. So now if I had chords and stuff playing, let's say that I've got the FL keys playing a C major chord. And I want to check the tuning perhaps. I could put a C down and play it. It's now being corrected. Versus if I change this back to the way it was, you can hear that it's now not the correct note. And so there you go. That's how you do this. I wanted to do just a few examples so you can see this. Subscribe and hit that bell icon for future videos and have a blessed day.